This is Idiots with Opinions. Idiots may vary. Welcome back, all the idiots of the world. My name is Todd Schlegelmilk, and I'm here on a special mission for you to give you the good news.
That's right. I'm Tuscan Fairfield, and I'm the first mate on this mission. We are flying into uncharted territory, unexplored space, where no man has ever gone before. It is, in fact, the final frontier.
It is. This is not the women's restroom, nor is it the far reaches of space, but this is Idiots with Opinions, our podcast. So make sure that your seatbelt is on, click it or ticket, and get ready for an immersive experience where you will learn many things about yourself and others.
Yeah, it's much like taking one of those saltwater baths where you're completely devoid of any senses. You know, you're like in a dark saltwater bath and you're floating and you can't see anything or hear anything. And the water's like the same temperature as you, so you can't feel anything. You don't even feel gravity. You're just like floating, right?
That's how the
density's just right.
That's how I would advise people to listen to this podcast in a tank like that. Just
deprive yourself of all other senses except the silky sweet sound of our voices. That's how we imagine ourselves coming to you. As a matter of fact, that's what Todd and I do when we record this podcast. We float in saltwater baths, and all we hear are each other's voices.
Yes, each other's presences. Because I'm in Chicago and Tuscan is in Lincoln, and
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's just how it be. Well, Tuscan, how's your week been? I know we didn't release an episode last week.
Yeah,
it was finals week for us, so we took a impromptu little break.
Yeah, we did, and we didn't actually mean to, but I had way too much homework to get done over the weekend. I know Todd did too. He had like 12 hours of straight editing earlier this week.
Oh yeah.
I got some Snapchat updates about that one. I had to write a paper about the Mormons, which as it turns out, just by happy coincidence, the Book of Mormon is in town this week.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to see that on Sunday with a buddy of mine. And I'm really looking forward to it. I've never seen the show before.
I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. And when my dad says he likes a musical, I'm like, I am in. I know it has to be worth seeing. If my dad says, yeah, that was a good musical, it has to be worth it. Because he feels the same way I do about musicals, which is not warm. Yeah. Not at all. But other than that, I was going to say my week's been good.
Oh, okay.
Ask a question.
Do you remember that time when we went to see La La Land, just the two of us?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
That was a weird
both ended up really liking it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I think our problem is, both of us aren't really big musical fans.
No.
I feel bad because I have a lot of friends who are theater directors, majors,
sure.
And so I don't usually express this opinion very much, but I really don't like it. And
I express that frequently.
But I think the thing that I was okay with La La Land, as you were as well, was the fact that all of it could have happened in their mind aside from one or two songs.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah, I don't like it when they turn an entire room into a choreographed dance number. I like musicals when they set a mood for a scene, which is I think something La La Land did really well, right? If you take even think The Big Lebowski. Remember that musical number? It was,
I forgot there was a musical number.
Oh, there was a musical number.
Movie.
I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. Yeah, that was great. And Jeff Bridges dancing along in a robe, it doesn't get any more surreal than that.
No.
But that's the sort of thing I'm looking for. Now, I remember my freshman year of college, my girlfriend and my roommate at the time both talked me into watching Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I said, I hate musicals. And they said, it's not a musical. They were like, it's something different. I can't describe what it is. And I was like, well, do they have scenes where they stop what they're doing and there's a 3 to 5 minute song and dance number? And they said yes. And I said, it's a musical. It's
I had a similar experience with Rocky Horror Picture Show. We had an event at the building.
Had a showing, a screening?
Yeah, at at the building that I live in that
People
I
love
had
those.
to help put on. And not a lot of people showed up compared to like the amount of people that usually show up to those types of events. But the people who did show up were so into it, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this movie. It's so great." And
That's what they always do. They
like
always
a
build it up.
It's there's so many different things that people do for the movie. Like there's extra
They're
movements and weird things.
There are call and repeat actions. Like,
and it's uncomfortable. And
I'm not into it.
Don't like it.
Yeah, it's just not my sort of thing, man. I can't get into something, especially if it's one of those movies that's not just people talking during the movie, but it's a movie that requires the audience to participate.
Yeah.
I am not into it whatsoever. I don't like other people talking during the movie, but if I'm watching a movie with one other person and we're having an engaging conversation about the movie during the movie, fine. But if I have to listen to somebody else talk, or if I'm in a room with like 10 people and we're all watching a movie, which is rare, but you know, sometimes it happens, or in a theater, there's a certain respect that goes along with it, and you don't talk during the movie. It's like you're either having a movie night or you're watching something else where nobody cares if you're talking. You know?
Yeah.
Like we can be social now, or we can watch a movie, which is like devoid of social, in my opinion. We can talk about it after,
Or we can watch Bob Ross and talk and watch.
Yeah, it's as much visual stimulation as anything else.
There's so many things that movies really warm your heart with. There's so many tactics.
Sounds like a segue.
Yeah, it is. They get you right in the heart, and you know, no other airline than Southwest Airline also affects you in this way, just right in the heart. And specifically, one flight flying from Sacramento to Dallas had a problem with taking so much care of somebody's heart that they accidentally forgot that they had a human heart on board that was supposed to be transferred from their last location to Seattle. So they had a mid-air turnaround to go put this beating human heart back in Sacramento so that it could be flown to Seattle so that it could potentially save someone's life.
Did it get inside somebody by the end of the day?
I've read 3 of these news articles about this topic, and none of them have said that there has been a confirmed
transplant
effect of this heart. Maybe it's like doctor-patient confidentiality sort of deal.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think it's released to the public.
Well, I hope so. You know, I think about that sort of thing, and it's a miracle of modern medicine that we can take organs from one person and transport them across the country or even around the world and put them in somebody else.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Are you an organ donor, Todd?
I am an organ
on your
donor.
license. Yeah.
I mean, I have not donated any organs yet, but if I were to pass on, I would be donating those organs.
Yeah. Well, you have to pass on in the right way. I think you have to be brain dead or something, where they can like keep the rest of your body alive. Because if you get shot, that's it for a couple of organs probably.
Yeah.
But if your whole body is functioning because of some electrical machine they hook you up to, then they can just rip your heart right out and go put it somewhere. You remember this because I talked to you about it over the summer. I signed up to be a bone marrow donor.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know, it was probably a little over a year ago, maybe this time last year, it was early 2018, I think, where I saw something for bethematch.org, not a sponsor, but if you're looking to donate and make a difference in somebody's life, maybe save their life from some sort of cancerous, I think it's leukemia that it helps treat. You can sign up to be a bone marrow donor because it's super, super rare to find a match for these people. And in a lot of instances, people spend, years and years searching for just one donor that could potentially be a match for them, and then they're unable to find it. And so basically, you just spit in one of those spit cups or whatever, and send it off, and then they test your DNA and see if you might be a match for somebody else. And I actually got a call at one point where they were like, "Hey, you might be a match for a potential patient. You're going to need to answer like an extra questionnaire and see if you'll be the right fit for them." Turns out I wasn't, but it was it was kind of a process where I was like, oh, am I actually willing to do this?
Yeah. And isn't it like extremely painful?
I've heard that.
The giant needle that goes into your hip.
Yeah, I would want to be put under for that process. Mm-hmm. There's no way in hell I'm watching that happen. But besides that, I just, I hear that you've got to do it, and then they put you under for the procedure, or they give you some medicine that'll make you like produce extra bone marrow or something like that. And you live with that for 2 weeks, and then they put you under, and they extract the bone marrow they need, and then your lower body hurts for the next 2 weeks or something like that. Like you're just like you have like an aching pain in your hips, but besides that, you're fine.
But an aching pain is no match for death, so it's an easy trade-off.
I agree. I think it's one of those things that, you just do to better somebody else's life. And Todd, I gotta tell you about something that has bettered my life today. Reading this story, namely. So there is a guy in a town of Westford, Vermont, and this guy wanted to build a garage, an 8,000 square foot garage on his property so he could move his truck repair business to his property rather than being in like the neighboring town. Right. So he didn't have to commute to work. Yeah. Well, the whole deal with that is that while you might think it's perfectly fine to do whatever the heck you want with your own property as a free and God-fearing American, it turns out that's not the case. You got to get all sorts of zoning permits from the city, and sometimes the city just won't let you, which is, in fact, what happened to this guy about a decade ago. And he's been fighting the city to try and get this zoning permit for over 10 years. And he's been unable to get this permit. They won't let him open a business on his property. It's zoned specifically for residential use and not for commercial use. So he is getting back at them in a very like kind of coy and underhanded way. He had commissioned a $4,000, 700-pound statue of a middle finger, which he put on a 16-foot pole and aimed directly at the city hall.
Wow.
And it's on his property. And technically, billboards are illegal in this town, but it's not a billboard because it's not advertising a business. It is merely a public art display. And that is protected under free speech with the First Amendment of the Constitution. So the government can't say no to your middle finger on your property, Todd. I want one. I really do.
Our neighbors across the street when I was growing up had a costume business that they were running out of their house, and then it got shut down because they were in a residential district, and it's illegal.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
What if you are like working from home in a different way? I guess it's okay if it's online.
I think, I don't know.
Or like Etsy.
Etsy, yeah. I mean, but in a lot of those cases, like for Etsy, you'd just be a contractor, right? Like you could probably categorize your work as freelance work, and your business doesn't have a physical location. I think as long as you have like a P.O. box somewhere else, and you're not hosting customers at your place of business, then it is technically not a commercial location, but in fact just a home office workspace, as long as you're officially registered or incorporated in a different location. I don't know the law on that, but I would assume that is the sort of loophole that you would go for if you were doing something like that.
Well, everything that we say on this podcast is fact, so take it 100% at face value, everyone listening. Tuscan is studying to be a lawyer someday.
I haven't studied much yet, but
I would believe everything he says about the laws of the United States of America.
That's fair.
And businesses in general. And Tuscan, I want to tell you about another business
All right.
in Germany.
Let's hear it.
So Germany, what do you think of when you think of Germany?
Lederhosens, Steins, and Oktoberfest.
What about, this Christmas time?
Krampus.
No.
Oh.
I would think of sweet treats. Sweet treats
okay.
such as a chocolate.
Sweet German chocolates.
Yes, German chocolates. So there was a German chocolate factory recently that accidentally had a meltdown. One of the tanks that was holding a giant amount of chocolate leaked out onto a street in Germany and completely closed down the road.
Yeah.
They were unable to drive, so they had to have a lot of the factory workers come out and try and get rid of the chocolate, and also 25 firefighters using shovels, hot water, and blowtorches to get rid of this chocolate. There's
dude,
so much chocolate.
Can you imagine being at the end of the road just with your mouth open, waiting for a river of molten chocolate to... I did see something about this. I saw the headline Hershey Highway, and I was interested in reading it.
This is what I think of when I think of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like this is a real life Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
This is the sort of disaster
Yeah,
that would actually ensue.
Yeah, it didn't say in the article, but I'm sure that there was a little fat child that fell into this river of chocolate and was never to be seen again.
Help, police, murder. My favorite scene in that movie. Well, first of all, that's my favorite line in that movie. When they're like, you have to do something. And he's like, help, police. Just no emotion. But also, when they were on the boat and they went through like the acid trip tunnel. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we've talked about this before. Definitely not on the show. But apparently, what was his name? Gene Wilder? That's not it. That's his name?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you're going to say. He
didn't tell him.
Didn't tell him, yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the cast didn't know that he was going to like freak out and start yelling at them.
Yeah.
And like all the lights were going crazy. Like those are all practical effects. And so when he started, I can't remember the line at this point. I remember I had it memorized like a couple of years ago. When he died, I can't imagine being on there, especially as a child, and like being like, what in the world am I looking at? Yeah,
it was genuine terror.
Yeah, no, like if you look at the faces of the actors, they're not acting. They're like, what is this? Mm-hmm. What have I signed up for?
Hey, that's a good movie. But it is a really strange movie. So strange.
It is strange.
Apparently the Johnny Depp remake is way more accurate to the books, but everyone is really upset because it's a remake, Yeah,
well, I mean, of course. They should be, right? Because it's not as good. And I don't think Johnny Depp was as good as... I don't think his name was Gene Wilder. Hold on.
It is. I promise you. Yeah, I just looked it up. It is.
Yeah?
Gene Wilder, yes.
Why do I think that I have that wrong?
Are you thinking of Mel Brooks?
Maybe. I don't know. That name sounds like it is from somebody else. I must just be stupid. Maybe it's like a Mandela effect thing.
Maybe
it's just a Mandela effect thing. Speaking of the Mandela effect, Todd, I heard another good one the other day. What color is the Pillsbury Doughboys neckerchief?
Blue?
It's red. Not. Nope.
Neither.
It's neither blue nor red.
What is it?
White.
Yeah.
I know, right? I mean, you can picture it once I say it, but in your head you're thinking, well, of course it's blue. It would make sense. He's a white boy. It would look bad to have white on white, and yet, there you have it. Pillsbury Doughboy. White neckerchief. All right, Todd. I got one more to talk about. Of course, we are in the Christmas spirit. And I'm going to talk about... I'm going to throw a little Christmas at you. A little Scottish Christmas at you.
Can't wait for some Christmas action.
So we're going to Scotland today. We're going to talk about...
your hometown?
No, we're not going to talk about Edinburgh. At least I don't believe... It doesn't say, actually, where this is from. It just says, Scotland mum. So she bought... She's got this kid, right? And they all had to dress up for a nativity at the school, which is something you don't get in America anymore. They don't have kids dress up for the nativity because, I don't know, something's going on there. I don't get it. Apparently Christmas is dead in the U.S. There was actually just a quick side note. There was a principal that got fired from an elementary school in Elkhorn.
In Elkhorn, yeah, I saw that. I was almost going to cover that. I didn't. Yeah. I was amazed because I was reading all these stories of like all around the world, and then I saw Manchester Elementary from the school district that I went to, and I was like, "What?
Yeah,
how is this in the news?"
Something about they can't decorate with like candy canes or images of Santa or so. I can't remember what it was.
Or anything because it was images or icons. I think it also said something about just most things that were red and green were not allowed or banned, which was ridiculous.
That just makes me angry.
Yeah,
it just does. I mean, listen, you can celebrate the Hanukkahs. You can celebrate Christmas. You can even throw Kwanzaa in there, even though it's not a real holiday. They just kind of like lump it in because they're like, this happens in December, right? Yeah, but who cares? Have you ever met somebody who celebrates Kwanzaa? It's like throwing Festivus in there because it was in Seinfeld.
Well, can't you celebrate Kwanzaa and also celebrate like Christmas or Hanukkah as well? It's not like specifically. I'm pretty sure
nobody knows.
I need to know more because I am not educated on this concept. But that's my understanding of it.
What I do know about Kwanzaa is that it was invented in the 1960s.
Really?
So it is by no means like a storied tradition of generations and generations. It happened like 70 years ago, or 50 years ago. So take that to the bank. Anyway, I digress. We're back in Scotland now, where Christmas is still alive and well. And there's this cute little boy who's like 7, right? Maybe even younger than that. And he's wearing like a little red bathrobe, and he's got this gray dish towel around his head with like a rope to make it look like he's a little shepherd. It's a really cute picture. But next to him is this lamb that his mom bought on Amazon. And the lamb turned out to be a sex doll.
What? What?
Yeah. The lamb has like eyelashes and lipstick and like a little bow on its head, and apparently a sizable hole on its posterior.
Why?
Yeah,
that's just
I don't know.
Why would anyone make that?
Well, if you can't practice bestiality in real life,
that's awful.
Oh my god, dude, tell me about it. Like looking at it, the kid's sitting next to the lamb, and he looks really cute, and the lamb just is like, why is this real? Anyway, apparently the mom didn't realize that this was a sex doll, obviously, right? Because she bought it for a kid. She just saw like a blow up lamb, and she's like, oh, he's a shepherd, like he's going to school for the nativity, and he's gonna dress up, and he should have a like little prop with him. And he was sent home from school, and the mom was like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I don't know how I can explain this to the teachers. And like my kid wants to play with it.
No.
But I can't tell him why it's not okay to play with it because he's like 6. And yeah. So anyway,
when that kid gets older, oh no, is he gonna get made fun of for this incident?
I don't think the other kids understand either. I mean,
yeah, but eventually they will. Eventually he's gonna get older, and they're gonna be like, "Hey,
well, one day his mom's gonna
sex doll."
One day his mom's gonna tell him, and they're both gonna laugh about it if his mom's cool enough.
That's true.
Because that's what my mom would do. She'd be like, this happened when you were a kid. And I didn't have the heart to tell you at the time, but like now that you're a grown man, we can.
But if it's on global news, it's kind of hard to stay away from.
Yeah. So apparently she added that she's got plans to take the sex doll away from him and tell him that it was the elf on the shelf that took it away.
Those elf on the shelves are terrifying.
Right? I want to talk about this. Listen. I saw one at Bed Bath & Beyond the other day. I was doing some Christmas shopping, and I went through Bed Bath & Beyond. Surprisingly good gifts in the Bed Bath & Beyond. And I saw an Elf on the Shelf, and it was like it was subtitled "A Christmas Tradition," and I was like, haven't these been around for like 5 years? I mean, am I crazy? They haven't been around long, have they?
I don't think so.
I think it's like a new-ish thing that somebody manufactured to be a Christmas tradition, even though it totally isn't. I don't know.
It's just like, to help the lie of Santa. Sorry
right?
for all those people who still believe in Santa and are listening to our podcast, but
well, we're just idiots with opinions. But I mean, I don't know. To be clear,
Tuscan, are you gonna tell your kids that Santa's alive if you ever have kids? Are you gonna buy into that lie? Yeah,
probably. And I'm also gonna have them make cookies and leave them out for me so that I can like come back in the middle of the night and eat them. I mean, I know that's what my dad always did, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Does anyone think about getting Santa presents that aren't like heart disease?
I mean, I'm sure there are families out there where they're like, well, Santa, he's just eating cookies all night. Like, let's leave him some broccoli or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's that family out there where the parents are like, I don't really want cookies. I mean, there's got to be something different that happens. It can't all be cookies. Is all I'm saying.
Those are probably families that are no fun.
Yeah. No, but there are the sad thing about my family right now is there are no little kids in it. The youngest among, my immediate family, obviously, my brother is 17, and my other cousin just turned 19, and we're like the only 3 kids in the family, right? But we're all pretty much adults now, and there are a couple of smaller kids, but they're either like distantly related to me or they don't come around at Christmas or anything like that. So there really isn't a lot of like young representation in my family, because my family is not one of those that like just keeps having kids, and like my parents don't have a lot of siblings. I mean, my mom was an only child except for a couple half siblings. My dad has a sister, but like her only kid is my 19-year-old cousin, so there's nothing happening there. But until the 3 of us start procreating, which hopefully will be a while from now, there won't be any little kids around Christmas time, which is kind of sad. It kind of ruins the magic of it. I mean, there's a lot more drinking, and it's a different kind of Christmas now than it used to be, but there's not nobody's fallen for the whole Santa trap anymore.
I think there was maybe one Christmas I remember where I believed in Santa, and I was immediately told that it was a lie.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds like something your dad would do.
If it was my dad, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this vividly. I ran out to my to the back of my living room, and I was yelling something about Santa, and he came around the corner and he's like, Santa's not real. And I was like, what? And it was an earth-shattering experience. Changed my life forever. And I realized I should never trust anyone. So
I could just picture it be like, you still believe in that BS? What are you, 5? Have some sense.
So yeah.
God, grow up, Todd. When are you gonna learn to be a man? You're like, I'm 6 years old. Stop buying me lamp-shaped sex dolls.
Oh man. Yeah. But who does buy into the illusion of Christmas cheer, and really hammers it home and brings a smile to every child on every street corner? Who's
that, Todd?
That's Carl Westberg. Ooh. Carl Westberg.
That's the one.
He always comes through. He does Santa Claus impersonations. He claims to actually know Santa Claus, but as we know, that's not true.
Yeah,
but
he actually he had one of those experiences like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus, where he found Santa Claus's jacket and then started growing really fat and his hair went white. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah. He also witnessed a man fall off of a roof and die in front of him.
Yeah.
And so and he thought that he had to take the mantle.
As much as I dislike Tim Allen, I think that was a good concept for a movie. I really do.
It's messed up. You know what?
Exactly.
I think would be really interesting for a concept of a movie. I probably shouldn't be saying this on a podcast, but it's whatever. It's not that great of an idea. If they had a Christmas movie where it was more of like a home invasion type Christmas movie, or just like the Santa Claus is a burglar almost, like he has to plan all of his home invasion things like really meticulously.
That's not bad.
Really stealthily. Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Like it's totally modeled after like Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
where there's like a Godfather shot of him explaining the plan, and then
to all of his elves and reindeer.
Yeah, and it's like executing it as he's like. That's not bad, actually. That'd be a good short. Like I don't think you could make a movie out of that. But I think that'd be a really good like 10-minute short or something like that.
No, why don't people try and burgle houses dressed as Santa Claus?
I'm sure that's happened more than once.
That should happen more.
Yeah. One last take on the Christmas thing before we plug our socials here at the end, Todd. Do you believe that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Oh, of course, you're going to ask me this question. Here's the thing. I've never seen Die Hard, Tuscan.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can just assert things and you can't refute them.
This is true.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It takes place on Christmas Eve. It has the classic fixins of every good Christmas movie. It's got great music, all the classics. It has a triumph of good over evil. It solidifies a family and the power of love over evil German terrorists. It has Bruce Willis in a tank top and no shoes. Yeah, and like a wealthy Japanese corporation. Listen, if you haven't seen Die Hard, which I know, Todd, you haven't, I would highly recommend watching it around the holidays. Even if you don't think it's a Christmas movie, it's a great movie. And Bruce Willis does a phenomenal job taking down Alan. What's
Rickman.
that guy's name?
Alan Rickman.
Yeah, that's the one. Who's really good in that movie. If you only know him as Professor Snape, well, then you're missing out. Anyway, so that's what we've got to say. Carl Westberg is Santa Claus, also a sponsor of this podcast. If you want to get in touch with us in any way on the internet, you can check us out on Twitter. We are at Opinions That Suck, SUK, at Idiotic Opinions on Instagram. And if you want to send us an email with any story ideas, any different formats you think we might want to try out, or you just want to say hi, shoot us an email over at studiosvolatile@gmail.com. That's where we live. Todd.
I would just also like to add, we are probably going to have just one final episode of the year of Idiots with Opinions, and then we will be taking a minor break throughout January. We'll come back at the end of January, and we'll continue to do this pretty much through the whole year, aside from 2 quick breaks, one in the summer and one again in the winter. That is our current plan, so stick with us. Thank you so much for listening. We've really been thankful for all of our listeners continuing to support us. Do what we love, which is just ramble on and talk about idiotic things, talk about nothing. So thank you very, very much. We wish you a happy holiday. And I've been Todd.
Well, hold on. Just to clarify, we will do one this weekend, the 16th. And then we will do one final episode for season 2 on Sunday the 23rd, right before Christmas. So we will see you then, right before the holiday. I have also been Tuscan, and happy holidays to y'all.
Or if you don't celebrate holidays, then I guess not happy holidays.
Happy Sunday. Have a nice Sunday.
You've been listening to Idiots with Opinions. Tune in next week